They say if you read this book out loud, it reads you back. It has no ISBN, no publisher, no credited author. Yet for nearly 2,000 years, it's been feared by priests, hunted by inquisitors, and studied by those who walk the darker paths of magic. A book said to conjure demons, speak to the dead, and curse the soul of anyone who dares open its pages. But here's the twist: it was written by a saint, a Christian martyr, a man canonized by the Church. His name was Cyprian, and before he died for his faith, he was one of the most feared sorcerers of the ancient world. This is the story of the cursed book he left behind, a forbidden relic that still holds power. And to understand its terror, you must first abandon the idea that good and evil are separate realms. Saint Cyprian's legacy bridges both. It invites us into a world where miracles and malice blur. The book does not ask for belief, it demands curiosity. And like all cursed things, it doesn't shout to be heard. It whispers, patiently, persistently, until you finally listen, until it's too late. Cyprian of Antioch was born into privilege, wealth, education, influence, but he chose a different path. At the age of 7, he was sent to Mount Olympus, not to worship gods, but to study magic. There, under priests of Apollo and temple mystics, he learned the arts of necromancy, astrology, invocation. He drank from bowls laced with blood, memorized chants to bind spirits. His teachers believed he was destined to become a high priest of the old gods. But Cyprian's life changed when he encountered a young Christian woman named Justina. She was pure, untouchable, and completely immune to his magic. He tried everything: spells, charms, demon summoning, but nothing could break her will. The demon he sent to possess her refused. "I cannot enter," it said. "She is protected." And so Cyprian, humbled, renounced his magic, converted to Christianity, burned his scrolls, became a bishop, and was later executed for his faith. The Church calls him a saint, but there are stories that he didn't burn all his scrolls. That one book survived, the Book of Saint Cyprian. It's worth noting that Cyprian's sainthood wasn't immediate. For centuries, scholars debated his past. Was he truly redeemed? Could a man once in league with demons become a holy martyr? And more disturbingly, could he have carried forbidden knowledge with him into sainthood? The answer may lie in this book, for unlike most relics of the early Church, this one contains rituals, incantations, and diagrams not of heaven, but of hell. Some even argue that the book was a trap left behind, not for believers, but for the damned. The first physical records of the Book of Cyprian date to the 17th century in Spain and Portugal, but even then, it was considered ancient, copied from older sources, passed down in secret. There are 3 main versions: Portuguese, Spanish, and Latin, all similar, none identical. Some sections offer prayers of protection, others, instructions for summoning demons. One infamous passage describes a ritual involving a black goat, blood, and chanting under a new moon. The Church's response was swift. Possession of the book became punishable by death. Inquisitors hunted it down, burned what they found. But the book persisted, reappearing in monasteries, in private collections, in locked boxes buried underground. One priest wrote in his journal, "I burned it. Yet it was back on the altar the next morning, open, watching me." Some believe the book's survival is tied not to coincidence, but to intent, that it was created to outlast the destruction of institutions. Even its ink has been analyzed. Some pages show traces of ash, sulfur, and unidentifiable organic residue. Scholars who handle it often report headaches, nightmares, and an overwhelming sense of dread. A few claim that each version of the book reveals different content depending on who reads it, almost as if it's alive. Or worse, as if it's testing you. A man in 1821 claimed the book led him to buried treasure. He was found years later, insane, mumbling in a forgotten dialect, clutching the book with bloody hands. A church in Spain refused to archive a copy. 3 librarians died within a month. The last left a note, "The goat stands behind me." In Brazil, an exorcist tried to cleanse a home with a copy of the book. The ritual ended with screams. The house burned down. The book was untouched. Over the years, these stories repeat, people drawn to the book, trying to use it, trying to destroy it, and failing. It doesn't just curse people, it curses places. It lingers. It waits. In northern Portugal, villagers speak of a house that no one enters. A copy of the Book of Cyprian was found there, open to a page that no one has dared to touch since. Dogs refuse to approach the door. Plants refuse to grow around it. Local legends claim that shadows appear on the windows during the equinox, performing rituals with no one inside. The book is said to whisper names to those who listen too long. Some believe it marks them, others say it follows them. One thing is certain, it is not just paper and ink. It is a presence. The contents of the book are dark, structured like a grimoire. It includes prayers for protection, spells for domination and love, rites to speak with the dead, invocations to summon infernal powers. But there's more, texts written in invisible ink, revealed only under candlelight or moonlight. One spell, titled The Pact, describes how to offer part of your soul in exchange for knowledge. Another, called The Nine Shadows, contains names that aren't meant to be spoken. Researchers have tried to decode these. Many stopped. A few disappeared. One claimed the symbols matched ancient Sumerian death spells, curses predating Christianity. Whatever the origin, the message is clear. This book isn't just knowledge. It's forbidden knowledge. Some pages feature warnings in Latin, Greek, and even early Arabic. Cross-cultural red flags. Do not proceed unless you have no fear of what walks in shadow. Some diagrams resemble constellations, others anatomy, but with additions: third eyes, horns, duplicated hearts. Scholars debate whether these are metaphorical or literal. One fringe theory claims the book maps not spiritual realms, but other dimensions, where time folds and language breaks. A ciphered page found in a Portuguese edition appears blank until submerged in oil. When revealed, it simply reads, "You were not meant to see this." In 1824, a monastery gathered every known copy and tried to burn them all. All turned to ash, except one. A woman in South America buried hers under a church. It was back on her nightstand the next day. Collectors have sealed the book in iron, encased it in concrete, submerged it in rivers. Yet it returns. Pages don't age. Ink doesn't fade. Some believe it heals itself. A Vatican archivist once wrote, "It is not a book. It is a mirror. And some mirrors cannot be broken." Accounts from 20th century occultists describe the book resisting destruction in bizarre ways. One claimed his fireplace extinguished itself each time he attempted to burn it. Another reported his matches disintegrating in hand. A Russian monk tried drowning a copy in holy water. It bubbled but remained dry. More chilling is the testimony of a bishop who ordered a copy buried beneath consecrated ground. Years later, the cemetery suffered a flood. All graves were disturbed, except one. The coffin was empty. The book, resting atop the soil, unopened. You can find copies online. Cheap ones, handmade ones. Some claim to be replicas. Others say they're direct transcriptions. One YouTuber read from it on stream. He deleted his channel the next day. A TikToker opened the book during a ritual. Her lights flicker every night at 3:15 a.m. Some say it's all coincidence. Others aren't so sure. In 2019, Chilean police raided an underground ritual. 5 hospitalized. One man believed he was possessed. The book was at the center. Across Reddit, forums, and YouTube comment sections, readers document strange happenings, dreams in languages they don't speak, voices calling their names from empty rooms, mirrors fogging with symbols. Some experience technology glitches, with phones refusing to record the book. One seller on the dark web claimed the book refused to be photographed, its pages always appearing blank in images. Skeptics suggest mass suggestion. Believers, they think the book adapts, recognizing the digital age as just another medium for its message. Skeptics say it's a psychological trick, that fear creates hallucinations, that the book is nothing but ink and paranoia. But believers argue the opposite, that the book isn't dangerous because people believe in it. People believe in it because it's dangerous. The church doesn't deny the book's existence, it simply avoids speaking of it. Even among modern occultists, the Book of Cyprian is treated differently, not as a guide, but as a test, because unlike other grimoires, this one watches back. Some neuroscientists suggest that intense belief can activate latent regions of the brain, amplifying imagination to the point of experiencing hallucinations. But others point to physical evidence: scorched altars, spontaneous nosebleeds, entire rooms gone cold. The psychological theory doesn't explain why objects near the book sometimes crack, melt, or vanish. Nor does it explain why devout skeptics have become believers after a single encounter. This divide, rational versus irrational, may be exactly what the book exploits. It doesn't care if you believe, it only cares that you look. Why does the book scare people so deeply? It's not just the demons, or the rituals, or the curses. It's what it suggests, that anyone, with the right words, can reshape reality. That power doesn't belong to the divine, or the state, or the priesthood. It belongs to whoever dares claim it. That's what frightens institutions. That's what frightens us. Because power, once touched, demands a price. And maybe that's the true horror. Not the creatures the book could summon, but the ideas it unleashes. That faith is fragile. That morality is a choice. That what separates a saint from a sorcerer may be nothing more than which name you whisper before the ritual begins. The Book of Cyprian doesn't just challenge your understanding of the supernatural, it challenges the foundation of belief itself. Perhaps that's why so many burn it. Not because it's evil, but because it strips away the illusion of control. It reminds us we are standing on the edge of an abyss, and some pages push us closer. They say if you read this book, you'll never sleep the same again. Some say it calls to you, others say it waits. But maybe the most cursed book is the one you finish. So I'll leave you with this. Would you read it? Even if it meant never being alone in the dark again. The Book of Saint Cyprian has endured inquisitions, exorcisms, science, and ridicule. And yet, it remains. Perhaps that is its final power, persistence. Not just in form, but in memory. It is an idea that cannot die, a fear that cannot be reasoned with, a shadow that survives even in the brightest light. When you turn off this video, the story won't end. It may linger, in the back of your mind, in the silence before sleep, in the rustle of unseen pages. Just remember, you were warned.